My name is Jad Walther. I am a production planner at a local tech company, and I'm also a co-leader for 423 Communities. So my addiction really started at about the age of 11. At that point, I was sexually molested by my uncle, and he also introduced me to pornography. At that same time, it was discovered that my mom actually began an addiction of her own. She came out as being a heroin addict. I started using pornography and masturbation to really hide from the world and deal with a lot of emotions. That became my main coping mechanism for dealing with emotions that I didn't like and that didn't feel good to me. From there, I just continued down a road that those behaviors increased. Unfortunately, had a failed first marriage because of multiple affairs, pornography, masturbation, and other various sexually acting out behaviors. It really came to an end for me at one point when I attempted to commit suicide because my addiction became so overwhelming that I just could not handle it anymore, and I really felt like there was no help. I was lucky enough to find a residential ministry in Kentucky that was a live-in program for men that struggled with sexual sin. I attended there for 15 months. I came to know Jesus and found the amazing freedom that comes with him and his power to really bring me out of my addiction. I relocated to Oregon. My wife and I found 423 Communities on the internet, and I called Dave and I said that I needed continued help to, continued support to be able to maintain my sobriety and maintain my sexual purity. And so he connected me with a group that I've been in since day one. And now I feel blessed that I get to be a co-leader in that group and share, with other men that are struggling, the amazing power that comes with finding freedom in Jesus. Some of the things that I really like about 423 Communities is that it's focused on Jesus and it's focused on God. It acknowledges that really this freedom can only be rooted in Jesus and the community of other brothers. I've been in other programs. They didn't work because there wasn't this spiritual component to it. And then also I think that the fact that we do this together as a community is very beneficial, and that's been, I think, the success that's been in my life to be able to maintain sexual purity and freedom. My wife Jess and we've been married for almost 5 years. This is my second marriage. I did have a first failed marriage directly because of my sexual sin and multiple affairs and acting out. But when I met Jess, we actually met in rehab, which is not the place you're supposed to meet your spouse. But our story is really a success story of us coming together and helping each other. So Jess knew from the very beginning that I had I was a sex addict and I had issues with sexual sin, but I don't think she understood how deep it was. And I think she was a little naive thinking that she could really help me and kind of be the person that maybe healed me. Unfortunately, she quickly realized that wasn't going to be possible. So we really have been working quite hard over these past 5 years to develop this marriage from the ground up. I have to say that we have that now, and it's partly because of 423. The men in my group multiple times have prayed over my marriage. They've supported me through encouragement and sharing stories, just completely blessed me and my marriage, because I know that I can rely on these guys when maybe Jess and I are having a fight and I need to reach out to a brother and be like, hey, this is going on and I need some help. For me, 423 is more about just healing from sexual addiction, sexual sin, but it really does translate into just having a healthier family and a healthier marriage. So what I would tell to somebody that's reluctant to join 423 Communities is that I used to be there. There was a period in my life where I felt like my sin was too great and that I could not share with anybody because the shame and the guilt that I felt like I was the only one that struggled with this type of sin, and that's just not true. Many men and women from all walks of life that struggle, and there's real freedom in coming together as a community with other like-minded people and other people that are struggling with these issues. You don't have to do it alone. You don't have to do it in isolation. You may think you do, but you don't. The feeling that I felt the first time I walked into a 423 community group, I felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulder, like a burden was lifted off. And these men in my group actually wanted to take that burden from me. Like they wanted to share that, and it was amazing. And that first group I walked out, I felt lighter. I felt different. I really felt like I had a smile on my face. I was able to realize that, yes, I could do this. So what I would say to a pastor that might be considering having 423 communities come into their church is that sexual sin already exists in your congregation, and you can choose to ignore it or you can choose to do something about it. And I think by inviting 423 communities into your church, you're telling your congregation that it's okay to bring this out into the light. It's okay to say that you're struggling, and here's an opportunity for you to find some healing, some freedom, and some help.